Hi guys, it's Kian. So today I'm here with Gabby, my CP Dreaming Lishe boy, and I wanted to do a story time about how I bought my first BJD doll, who's Gabby, at the age of 15 without telling my parents. So let's go into it. Gabby's changed into a new outfit, which I did before I filmed this video, just to let you see what he looks like. He has on some very dark purple pants with zippers, a navy blue cardigan that is basically only his, and yeah. So I wanted to talk about how I bought Gabby at the age of 15. I don't know whether this is like 10, 11, 12 years ago, so I don't know how much of it is still relatable, but if you find this interesting, or maybe you're like a young person trying to save up for a doll, I don't know maybe whether this would be any relevant to you, but I hope it's an enjoyable story, so let's go into it. So when I was 15 and trying to buy a doll, I had quite a lot of difficulties. The first one was just trying to even save up for a doll. So Gabby, at that time, Gabby the head, the body, plus 1 wig that I ordered cost about 700 Sing dollars and some cents, which is a number I still remember because I spent so long trying to figure out how to, eat cheaper food or like to go out with friends less, just so I can save up the money. So I saved up for about a year between ages 14 to 15. So I actually knew about ball jointed dolls at 14 years old from a cosplay convention, but it took me 1 year to be able to save up for a doll that was like 700 Sing dollars. So saving was difficult, but I'm not going to go too much into it. Basically, I really just saved my allowance and I didn't have any part-time job. Right, so that was difficult. And trying to not, like once I reached something like $300, $400, I was really tempted to buy a cheaper doll. But I didn't. My friends were like, no, just save up and hold out for the doll that you really want. So yeah, that's what I did. That was quite difficult, but that was only part of it. The second problem that I had was that at 15, because I was also determined to not tell my parents that I was going to get a doll, because I figured it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. I wasn't sure that they were going to let me get a doll, so I was just like, heck it, I'm just going to do it. So I had problems with trying to figure out how to pay. So most places, and in particular Luts, does take like credit card or debit card, PayPal or bank transactions, but I had none of those options. So I didn't have any access to like debit cards or credit cards. I couldn't get a PayPal because I wasn't old enough, and then I had no access to bank accounts. Like they were managed by my parents, so I couldn't do bank transfers either. So my only option was really cash. And with cash, there was only one way I could do it, and that was with group orders. So there were some group orders in Singapore where people would agree to take cash via meetups, and that was what I was aiming for. So I waited and waited for a really long time, and finally somebody was doing a Luts group order, and she was willing to take cash via meetup. So I went with my sister to meet this person because I basically lied to my parents and said like, oh, I was going to go out with my sister, but I was actually going out to pay the group order manager. And I brought $700 in cash to pass to the group order manager, who honestly was a really nice person in hindsight. But at that time, I was just like super unsure. I was like hoping that like it would be a legit deal and like they wouldn't just like scam me and run off with money, which is a risk that you have with cash transactions. But I had pretty much no choice at that time because I didn't want to tell my parents about it, so I was just risking the $700 that I spent 1 year to save. So I paid the group order manager, and then I had to wait for a really long time because if you order dolls, they are made to order and it takes like something like 60 business days. So it was something like 3 to 4 months waiting, and I was trying my best to be patient, to wait, to count on the days, and like not to bug my group or the manager because I didn't want to be that annoying newbie. And then I waited and waited and waited until she contacted me and was like, the order has come, you can like go and pick up your orders. Let me know when's a good time. So again, with like trying to pass the cash, right, I was trying my best to figure out how to bring this doll home without telling my parents. But if you don't already know, CP Delfs are like 60 cm tall. Like, he's not very big compared to some of my other dolls. My other dolls are like 65 cm. He's not like the biggest. He's not the smallest either. I didn't want an MSD, which was like 45 cm, which would definitely be way easier to hide than he is. But I wanted a big doll. So 60 cm is not an easy size to hide. And before he arrived, right, I was taking out like the rulers, the tape measure, trying to figure out how big 60 cm is. And at that time, I was not prepared for him to be this size. I was expecting him to be smaller for some reason. Now I feel like he's a very small doll because he's like the smallest of my SD dolls. But at that time, he was my first doll, so I didn't know what to expect. And I was just like, whoa, he's actually really big. And then I was trying to find a bag that I could hide him in, like that I could smuggle him into the house with, but I failed because none of my bags are that big. And especially not with the doll box. So I decided to fess up. I confessed to my parents that I bought a doll without their knowledge. And then I was also, because I had to pick up the doll in person from the group order manager's place, because honestly it's quite difficult to expect them to bring a whole doll box out, right? So she was like, you can pick it up at my place. So I was a bit like iffy because I was like 15. And yeah, the group order manager is a lady who's like maybe 20, 30 something years old. But I was like, I'm this like 15-year-old kid. So I was like telling my mom, and she decided to come with me to the person's place to pick up the doll. And all the time I was trying to be like secretive and messaging the person being like, how much will shipping be? Because I only paid for the doll. I hadn't paid for shipping at the time. And she was like, it's okay, you don't have to pay for shipping, which I was really like, wow. Because at that age I was like, I'm sure shipping must have cost a lot because it's a whole doll. It has to be at least like 20, like not even that, it has to be like at least 30, 40 USD. But she didn't ask me to pay for shipping. And then I was just like, okay, please don't tell my parents how expensive this doll is. And she was like, yeah, it's okay, I get it. Which was really, really nice. And I went to a place, and there was actually a lot of dolls on display, and I was super jealous of it at the time. But anyway, I went in with my mom, and then I took his blue Delf doll box, like the box without any other, like, there's no like outer bag, there's no like outer shipping box. There was like basically nothing to hold except for his actual Delf blue box, which I'll put a picture too. But I had to hold that box and I had to take it back on the subway, the MRT in Singapore, and home on the bus. So it was like an hour plus journey holding this huge ass doll box through public transport. But it was like super worth it. And the whole time I was just like, how did I manage to do this? How did I manage to buy a doll despite all these other challenges? And I was just like so happy that I finally got a doll at that time because I really, really wanted one. So that's how Gabby came to be. And I think that is also kind of why he has stuck around for such a long time, because him being my first doll is really special, but also like the determination I had to get a doll and like the trouble I went through to buy him, I guess also forged that bond. Of course, the fact that he was my first doll and I did everything with him helped. Like I brought him to conventions, I carried him around for like half a day, going around to conventions because I wanted to be like, hey, look at me, I have a doll. Which is kind of funny because like nowadays I'm so lazy to do that. But at the time I was like so excited to show him around to like anyone who would look at him. So yeah, that's basically the story of how I bought my first doll, Gabby, when I was 15 years old. And yeah, let me know what you think, whether you think this is an interesting story. Do you want me to talk about more stuff that happened in the past? Do you want more story time? And let me know in the comments below whether any of this was interesting to you. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!